Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
For all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels.
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Happen in 49, 61, 63 or 69 when they reach the final. But the class of 2021 have delivered. Leicester City are FA Cup winners at last and are history makers at Wembley.
They have blown their rivals away. They have blown us all away in truth. Premier League champions 2016. The amazing Leicester City.
Till I Die TV. Your first choice for everything Leicester City. Tune in and join in now.
Right, Chris.
All right there, how are we doing? Yes, I was hiding then. Oh, I've been doing that all day. I must remember to click off something before I click on something. Anyway. Brentford at the weekend, but how are we feeling from last night? And what do you think about it? I mean, do you think last night's game will tire us out? Is it, games too soon? We've got players coming back, but just as we seem to get one fit, we seem to lose another two. What a season. We'll talk about the draw in a second as well, but thanks for watching. This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Find us on YouTube if you're watching. And if you are, please give us a subscribe. And if you are listening on any podcast platform whatsoever, thank you so much. Amazon, Apple iTunes, Google, Spotify, Podcast Addict. And I found one earlier on today that I hadn't even heard of that we were on. So if you are listening, thank you so much for that as well. Here is where you can find us.
Watch us on YouTube. Listen on your favorite podcast platform or ask your smart speaker to play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Subscribe, like, follow, and join in now.
Broadcasting live worldwide.
Indeed, we're going to be joined by Ant from fellow Leicester City channel on the 90. Make sure you get over there and support them. I think he's just sort of rushing home from work as we speak, so he's a little bit behind. But we'll get Ant on later. So, was it squeaky bum time or what? Was it squeaky bum time or what last night? We'll say hello to Renee. How the devil are you? I'm good. Feeling good for yesterday's game. And yep, let's welcome him in, Ant, and say good evening, Ant. How are you?
Evening, mate. I'm good, thanks. Literally just seen the draw as well of who we've got in the next round, which made me slightly nervous, I'll be honest. But if we want to win it, we've got to beat the best.
Well, this is it. And I thought we'd touch on this before we actually got to the Brentford game because, did you watch the match last night?
Yeah, it was... that last 20 minutes felt like an hour, didn't it?
Oh my God. My arsehole was so sore from clenching it. It was, I mean, Fofana, what a game. Welcome back. Have we missed him or what? And then he goes and gets a goal to top it all off. And at that point, there's me and my son just sat there going, well, yeah, we're through here. And then they got the second. Oh, my God.
It was the fact it was like it took some like proper top class defending from Vestergaard of all people.
Yep.
And you've got to give credit where it's due. He's had a lot of sort of a hard time from a lot of Leicester fans, including myself. When
Yeah.
he's doing well, you've got to give him praise. And I think there's not going to be one Leicester fan who's sad, who's not happy to see him put in a performance like that. And hopefully that could be the start of him turning around his Leicester career and really build on his confidence. But
I mean, yeah, everybody was mentioning in the group sort of, oh God, Vestergaard's coming on, God help us. And for those of you that sort of follow me on Facebook, you'll know in the group I've been quite critical of Brendan for the substitutions he makes. You know, there was the classic bringing Vestergaard on against West Ham just as we're taking a corner. There was the taking 2 defensive players off, bringing 2 more defensive players on when we're 2-0 down against Arsenal. But he got it right last night. I mean, Vestergaard had to come on because, in fairness, for Fafana, he stayed on longer than I thought he would, 70-odd minutes for his first game back. And, yep, he had a great game, Vestergaard. As you say, I've been very critical of him, but credit where credit's due. They were throwing themselves in front of that ball at the end.
They were, and then it also took an incredible save from Schmeichel as well. So it's everyone very much like defensively putting a shift in. The only concern, and I'm going to sound really negative here, and I don't mean to, because I think the fact that we're through is the main thing, is that it's another game that we've conceded 2 goals in, which when you look through our season, that seems like that's almost every game.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I think if that had been a Leicester of a few months ago, I think we might have actually ended up conceding more. To be honest, you know, you rely on Schmeichel. He always seems to have that one excellent save in him in every match. You know, I mean, their first goal, I think, was I don't even think he knew what he was doing. I think it just hit him and went in.
No, he was given far too much room down that right-hand side, though, to get sort of cross in. And it's one of those, I don't know what you were thinking at the time, Chris, but I was thinking, oh, God, 6 minutes in, here we go. This is going to be a very, very painful evening. But
yeah,
I think the main thing was we went 1-0 down early, which was far from ideal. But then we didn't concede again straight away again.
Yeah.
Which could have been very easy to do. We actually, I know they have the majority of the ball, but for the large periods of that first half, we had the better chances. Like Harvey Barnes should have scored. Ian Atto should have scored. So, yes, they dominated the ball for the first half, but I'd say like on the counter, there was definitely opportunities for us. And it's that ugly, like classic European away performance where you're just trying to nick anything you can on the counter and keep yourself.
What I'd like to see, to be honest with you, is yes, we didn't sort of, our heads didn't go down. We went 1 down. I mean, it just shows how important Kelechi's goal was in the first leg. And that second goal made all the difference. But I love the fact that we were playing this European team at their own games. You know, my son turned around and went, Maddison, he'd gone down for a free kick, and he probably blew on him and he went down, but he was doing what they were doing and he was playing for time.
I saw something that was so funny on Twitter, and I won't say the full amount of it on here, but it was something like, isn't it beautiful to see Leicester winding the French up at their own game, crying and moaning for at least a good 60 minutes of it?
Yeah.
The thing is, like some of the time wasting yesterday was absolutely awful. But when you're the team doing it, it is brilliant to watch.
Yes, yeah, they were. I mean, they were questioning everything. I thought the ref had a decent game, to be honest with you. You know, he seemed to get most things right. And maybe we should be happy there was no VAR in that game.
Maybe, but then it's like they would have finished the game with 10 men if there was. So it probably goes both ways. Which
I mean, Randy says, "Are we going to win against PSV? Get my teeth in." He's kind of scared of that game. I mean, looking at the draw, are you pleased, disappointed, happy?
I don't know. Ideally, they're probably one of the teams that you'd have liked to avoid. But if we're going to win this, we're going to have to play those teams at some point. So it's like.
I mean, for me, I wanted to avoid Roma and Marseille. Got to be honest with you, which we haven't done because we're going to get them in the semis. Should we get past PSV? Boda Glimt. I mean, you've got to be careful. You're sort of saying, yeah, they're probably the weakest team in there, and certainly the UEFA points would probably show that. But whenever I think like let's get that type of team, I can't. And Brad will kill me for saying this, and I always do. I can't help thinking about Wycombe Wanderers.
Yeah, saying about them though, didn't they beat Roma 6-1 earlier?
They did, yeah. They shouldn't be taken lightly.
So I think we're beyond the point of having any crap teams left in it.
Yeah. When you get to the quarterfinals, even like Boda Glimt, they're there on merit, and you've got to respect that. And you might get Roma and Feyenoord saying the same about us. I wish we got Leicester. They're right down there. But yeah, you have to respect anybody. A little bit of me wanted Slavia Prague. I'm not going to lie. I just wanted maybe to get them and get a bit of revenge.
Yeah, to be honest, I completely forgot about last year with them, but karma will get them.
Yes. I think fingers crossed it will. And like you say, we get Roma in or Boda. Now, presuming it's Roma or Boda Glimt in the next round. I said at the start when we dropped into this competition that I don't know why we're joint favourites, because, like I say, these teams have got a lot more European history than us. But if you're going to win this competition, you've got to beat Roma.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing is, it's like you can be joint. I think just because of the fact that we've won the cup and the league recently, like in terms of bookies, that always puts you slightly higher than where you would be. But it's like when you saw us in the Europa League, with the teams like some of the giants in that, and then we were favourites from day one. I think that's just the Premier League sort of aura of the Premier League around it. But I don't know, it's one of those like particularly since 5,000 to 1, I've never really sort of cared what the bookies have said. It's always been we've always been sort of the underdogs, haven't we? But it's strange in this context where we're not, and I don't like it. I'd rather be that team that's not expected much of.
Totally, yes. I agree totally with that. I mean, I know you have very much been Brendan out leading up to that. At this point, I mean, this is as far as he's ever been in the in Europe. I don't think he ever got this far with Liverpool or Celtic. As in the quarterfinals, it's equalled our best, which was the Champions League, obviously, when we were in there. Is he getting a bit more time with you now, do you think?
I think there's quite a few things with Brendan. It's like saying that he's gone as far. This is the furthest he's gone. Like, if this was last year, he would have been dropped out of the Europa League, and that would have been our European campaign over. It's quite fortunate for him that UEFA are very hungry for money and have created another competition.
Yeah,
but credit where it's due. I want Brett. I don't. There's this misconception about a lot of people who don't think Brendan's the right man. Is that people want him to fail. I want nothing more than to see Brendan Rodgers holding the Conference League at the end of this season.
Yeah.
And of really turning around this Leicester season. But it's just there's too many things of like the Forest away for me. That is the one. That still hurts.
Yeah.
Today. Yeah. And obviously the Forest away meant letting 2 top 4 finishes in a row go, and then also the injuries. Like, that is like, I'm sorry, they're not bad luck. And this is someone who's worked within sort of sports science for quite a few years as well. Before I went to teaching, you don't get injuries to like muscular injuries to the extent that we are through bad luck. It's through neglect and overtraining, and then.
It's something happening on the training field, isn't it?
It is, but the thing is, he seems to like this was my biggest thing, and he seems to be going in the right directions. He's employing the right people, and he's got rid of a lot of the people in terms of the medical staff that he brought in the first place. But the fact that he's starting to address those issues, that's why I feel a lot happier now and more happy to give the time. it was before, when it was week in, week out, we were picking up muscle injury after muscle injury after muscle injury, conceding about 2 goals from a corner each week. So things are slowly being addressed, but yeah, I'm more than happy to see like where we are at the end of the season. But I've got no qualms with if he is Leicester manager, I'll get behind him. But I still don't think he is the right man to take us forward.
No, that's very fair. We are all sort of entitled to opinions, but I mean, I fell out with a lot of Leicester fans because following the Arsenal game, I referred to him as the Brendan Bellend because I just 2-0 down to make the substitutions he made, and that's what. The one thing that I'm not happy with him always is the substitutions. I think 2-0 down, you take off 2 defensive players to bring on 2 other defensive players. You might as well just put the white flag up. What was the point? And, you can say, well, he was resting certain players. Well, I think we now know it was Mark O'Brien that probably needed the rest, and he's got playing him every game. But then again, he gets paid the big bucks, and yesterday, as I say, he got it right, definitely. Yeah. I mean, it was nice to see Wes come back, get the goal. I mean, it was a dream return for him, running over straight away to Brendan Rodgers. But I did notice, I don't know if you did as well, which was nice, he actually went and hugged Kolo Touré as well.
He does, and he always talks quite highly of Kolo Touré and sort of the impact that he's had on him and stuff. And like, I think there has been a lot of question marks about what Kolo Touré's job actually is of a club, particularly with the defensive record this year. But when you hear the players talking about him in the way that Fofana has, that's clearly doing something here. But at the same time, you're hardly going to hear Wes come out and say Fofana like how useless he is, are you? So it's like the club will always put out what they want you to hear.
Yes, indeed they will. And talking of the club, Anthony thinks that he's going for a Brentford win because of no firepower up front. I mean, last night Iheanacho, I think sometimes we've judged Iheanacho badly, and I think I felt sorry for him this season because he had a good end to last season. And he's hardly got a look in, but he holds that ball up well and he brings other players in that Daka and Vardy don't really do that as much.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things I've said for about Iheanacho. He's a different player to Vardy and Daka, and I think people expect Iheanacho to be running the channels and stuff in the way that those two do, and that's not his game. His game is to be able to hold the ball up, as you say, and bring those players into the game. He's got that ability to play with his back to goal and bring players like Barnes, I think it was Lookman yesterday, into the game, and that link-up play, as well as, I would argue this with anyone, he's our most natural finisher at the club. But, so he's just something completely different, which I think that's got to be a positive thing of not just having 2 strikers who are very similar in terms of Vardy and Daka. I think Vardy is obviously a level above Daka, but to have a striker like Iheanacho, who's more of that ball-playing striker, it's got to be a good thing to have this variety.
Definitely 100%. And I was going to say, we have got now, we're happy that we've gone through, happy with the performance. It's Leicester, something's going to go wrong. We've got Brentford at the weekend. I can probably see them coming and beating us, but this is who we've got. Yeah, we are hosting Brentford. Terry just says here, welcome, Terry, who scored the divisive second goal against Rennes. I mean, that was worth its weight in gold, looking back. But we have got a game this weekend. We are hosting Brentford. And are you worried about this one at all, Ant?
No, which probably means when we're looking at this on Sunday at about 5 o'clock, it's going to be 1-0 Brentford. But at the moment, I feel like we should have more than enough to beat Brentford. And the thing with Brentford is they're a decent side, particularly at home. but away
Yes.
from home, then we should be right. Like, I don't know if you remember the game earlier this season where they absolutely battered us, and we had the Yuri Tielemans rocket and the James Maddison goal on the break. But apart from that, it was all Brentford. So they have the capabilities to get at us, but I think the quality should show through.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, that was as you say, mentioned the game there, sort of Leicester coming 2-1 with Tielemans and Maddison. I love Brentford in as much as I like to see these smaller clubs. I've always said come up and do well. I'd love to see, if it can't be us, I'd love to see West Ham or Wolves get into that 4th position and get the Champions League spot. And they started off really well. They've kind of sort of dropped off a little bit, but they're still only 3 points behind us.
Yeah, that just sort of shows like the level of drop off from us this year in the league, doesn't it? But
yes,
a team that a lot of people are considering in a relegation battle are 3 points behind us.
But having said that, they have had just looking at this here, these are the recent games, and they've actually turned it around the last couple of times. Although, I mean, when you look at the opposition, Burnley and Norwich, you think that they should win that anyway. But for them, it was important because they beat those teams that were sort of around them or below them or could possibly catch them, in the relegation fight. So it was 2 very good wins for them.
Yeah, and just say that like it is Burnley and Norwich, but you can only beat what's in front of you, and it's confidence building for a team like Brentford after being on a horrific run to then beat those 2. Then they'll think, oh well, we can build on this now, and let's put another decent run together. Because that's why they're as high as they are, because they put a decent run together at the start of the season. So they're more than capable of doing it in the Premier League. So they'll think, why can't we go on another good run to finish the season off?
Yeah, well, I mean, they've had the 2 wins. I thought we were going on a decent run till we went to Arsenal. It's almost a bit like a given, go to Arsenal, we'll give them the 3 points. We don't have much success down there. The odd win here and there, but was that kind of like it's Arsenal, let's just get through the game sort of match?
Well, the team lineup, like I said this on my channel, and I got quite a bit of stick for it, but I still stand by it. Is the fact that I said, well, the team lineup identified the fact that Thursday was the priority anyway, and it looked like by putting Papi Mendy in, who by all accounts didn't have an awful game, but he would be nowhere near the strongest 11. By putting him in, it showed that it was the lowest of the priorities. And like Arsenal, I know their fans will wank themselves into a sock thinking that they're brilliant, but like they were playing a second-string Leicester team, and if they didn't beat us, I would be seriously concerned.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Mendy, he came on. There was a couple of surprises when I looked at the lineup, but I mean, you've got to say, we know we're not going to go down. I don't think there's any way we're going to go down. We're probably not going to get in Europe via the league. So I can understand him prioritising the Europe. But I think Mendy coming in, we're going to need him now because I say, I've heard that indeed he might be out for quite a few weeks. Surprise, surprise. And I mean, Mendy last season, when he came in at the start, because we had all those terrible injuries at the start of last season, he came in and did a fairly decent job for us. And I thought he did all right against Arsenal. He's not in the European squad, so that might sort of mean Chowdhury has to drop in there. But are you worried if you see him on the team, or would you sooner have Chowdhury starting?
I'd rather have Chowdhury start, but it's like you say, when he was called upon at the start of last season, he did a decent job, didn't he? And I think this would have been the perfect period to bring in Samara and start to sort of integrate him. But somehow now our players that aren't even in the starting 11 are starting to pick up muscle injuries, like Danny Ward as well. But with Mendy, you know what you're going to get with him. He does the basics well.
Yeah. He does, and I mean, I whether he will stop or whether he will go. I think as a squad player, that's kind of his role. I think at Leicester, I don't think because when you got Ndidi, let's be honest with you, and probably even Chowdhury are above him in the pecking order. But he's never let us down when he's come on. I don't think, but obviously with Brentford, I mean we've got problems up front. They've got Tony back, who is he is on fire at the moment. And this was a player that I wanted to buy. I think had Brentford not come up, they would have ended up selling him, and I wouldn't have minded getting him. This was obviously before Daka, but he's and of course Christian Eriksen. Great to see him back, but again, those two we've got to worry about them, haven't we?
We have. They're decent attacking options, but then like the fact that we're supposedly defensively improved, that's like. It'll be an interesting test to see how they're getting on. Two players that are banging form. So I want to see how, because I'm presuming, and this you can say I'm wrong with this, I think Siyuncu and Fofana is probably the starting partnership, or maybe Siyuncu and Amati. Fofana and Amati. Again, I want to see how they get on against Tony and Eriksen and a decent attacking Brentford side. So the thing is, like, we've struggled at home against almost anyone we've played, and we've had the ability to make absolute rubbish players look like they're Messi and Iniesta linking up. So now we're going to come up against a couple of half-decent players, but we've supposedly got the majority of our strongest defence back. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. I mean, actually, that was quite an interesting point you made, because I mean, obviously, once Fofana was better, he was going to be coming in because we're having such defensive problems. And I think, I mean, as it happened, Soyuncu was ill, although it's not COVID. So it was a easy option for Brendan to sort of put him and Amati together. I thought they played really well together. And, Amati, for me, is my most improved player this season. Last season you went, oh God, it's Amati. This time it's bloody hell, he's not picked Amati. What's going on? I liked Fofana and Amati together, and I think if you bring Soyuncu back for Amati, I think it really would be a shame.
It would, but it's one of those. Like, I'd say Siyuncu at his best is a better centre back than Daniel Amati, but we haven't really seen Siyuncu at his best. But I think a settled back four will sort of help get towards that. But the fact that we've at least got an option now instead of having to put like Chowdhury at centre back or something ridiculous, I think we're getting players back at the right time. But let's see how long it takes Brendan to injure them again.
Every cloud has a black lining rather than a silver one, or dark grey, I suppose. And this kind of, to me, sums the season up, because it's nice to see Casper actually kicking the ball upfield rather than just passing it around the back, which has caused us so many problems. And and you're passing it around the back and you lose it, they're literally in on goal. But the fact that, and this is every week when I do this and I compare these passes, it's always Soyuncu that's at the top of the pass list. But does that say more about Leicester's defensive style, the fact that he's passing it backwards and forwards all the time?
Yeah, and I love Schmeichel as a keeper, but he's not the keeper to play out from the back with. His distribution is horrendous. And I think that puts Siyuncu under a lot more pressure than helps him, which is why I think he's got so many passes. Also, the fact that he seems to love to play 1-2s with whoever the centre back is. He'll play about 3 or 4 1-2s with them before hitting a diagonal. So, I don't know. It's one of those. I don't mind seeing us play out from the back, but just not while Schmeichel's a keeper.
Yes, yeah. And how long? I mean, how long has Schmeichel been with us? Can we not teach Schmeichel to kick it and keep it in play?
Well, I think if at 36 he hasn't learned it, he's not going to learn it, is he?
No.
He's a brilliant, I would argue, one of the best keepers one-on-one in the Premier League.
Yeah.
But he is an old school keeper in terms of he doesn't have that modern sweeper side of his game. Like from the fact that he's everything from being glued to his goal line from set pieces to distribution and stuff, that modern sort of evolved keeper, he doesn't have that side to his game.
Yeah, yes, indeed. A quick, I mean, as always, Terry, yeah, you are quite right. He says, is it true you have a clock recording Spurs' last trophy haul? Well, you know what? It would be remiss of me, and if I didn't really, wouldn't it? So should we just sneak it in? What do you think? What do you think, Guy? I've got to find it first of all. Here we go.
It's time for the Daily Spurs.
How long since Spurs won a trophy? Well, I can tell you it's 14 years, 18 days, 2 hours, 11 minutes and 42 seconds and counting. It has to be done. I think the people need to know how long since Spurs last won a trophy, because they seem to think they're a big club, but hey ho, you know. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry if any Spurs fans are watching. Not sorry at all.
They've got a big stadium. Doesn't that make them a huge club?
Well, in their minds, yes, it does. You know,
and the roof moves as well. But like, surely that's worth a trophy at some point.
Yes. If they ever have a trophy for the best kept stadium, maybe they'll be in the running for it, you know. But a couple of did you knows here. Brentford have won their last 2 Premier League matches, as many as they had in the previous 14 combined. And they've also won the Bees last won 3 consecutive top flight contests in September 1946. Don't you just know that when you see a stat like that yeah, you're playing Leicester, so you're going to get it again?
It's just typical Leicester, isn't it? You see those kind of stats and just want to hide.
Totally. Also, another one here. Ivan Toney scored 7 goals in his last 5 appearances for Brentford, having netted 4 in his first 19. In his last 2 games, he's netted 3 goals against Norwich and Burnley. And the last player to score 2+ goals in 3 consecutive Premier League appearances was Tammy Abrahams, September 19. Do you rate Toney? Would you have liked him at Leicester?
I think he's a good player. I don't think he's a Leicester player. I think he's got to be that main man. And I think he's a big fish in a small pond at the moment, which suits him massively. I think he would have been sort of swallowed up coming somewhere like Leicester, where he would have been, 3rd choice striker behind Vardy and Iheanacho. And for the 40 million or whatever they wanted for him, I think we got the better deal with Daka. But I think he's a very good player. And if Brentford do lose him in the summer, I think they're going to struggle massively without him.
No, you're quite right. Anyway, some good news for Leicester. Leicester have won each of their last 5 Premier League matches against promoted sides, including all 3 this season. Or maybe that's the kiss of death. They've never won 6 consecutive top flight encounters with promoted sides before. Sometimes I don't know why I do this to myself. I've got to be honest with you. It's like self-imposed S&M. This is Brentford have scored a league high 50% of the Premier League goals from set pieces. Oh my God! Yeah, I should definitely not put these up. And Leicester have conceded a competition high 47% of their league goals from such situations. Oh my God. I mean, do you think there's a lot of pressure being put now that Fofana's coming back in, that the defence is going to be brilliant and suddenly we're going to go on and challenge for the top 4?
I do, but I also think it's very fickle, because you remember earlier on in the season, when Justin's back, we'll improve.
Yes.
No improvement. When Evans came back, admittedly he got injured again, but we'll improve. When X, Y, and Z's back, that'll be the Lord and Saviour of all our issues. And it's like, I think it's more of a collective. You need to have that collective unit back for probably a month at least before they start building that relationship again. But
Definitely.
that's why I think the injuries have killed us more than people. Like, yes, it's easy to look at an injury list and say that that's killed us, but it's also then the state that it leaves sort of the systems and the team in. That that's why injuries have killed us even more than just having players out.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it was Clinton Morrison said after one of the games, judge Brendan Rodgers when he's got a fully fit squad. And let's be honest with you, he hasn't had that all season, has he?
It's very easy to say that, but when he's shooting himself in the foot with why he's got injuries, like I think the injury thing is you can make that sort of look whichever way you want of, oh, it's been very unfortunate, or you can say that he's absolutely burnt some players into the ground.
Yeah, and he's not helped himself. We do know this with his substitutions and what have you. I don't know if you want to do this, and I do apologise if I've dropped it on you. I usually do it with Craig when we do it. And pick your starting 11. Would you be up for that?
Let's have it.
Yeah.
What is it Delia Smith says? Let's be having you.
No. Oh God, she'll never live that down. First of all, what formation would you like?
Let's go for 4-3-3 because that's what we've gone for the last few times out.
It is, yeah. It seems to be working. Now, this is the BBC, and I do know sometimes the players that we choose aren't always in there. But hi, Static. How the devil are you? Welcome along. Thanks for coming in. But I guess you're not going to give Pokovic his first start for about 4 seasons. I guess you're going Schmeichel in goal.
Yeah, well, we can't go Danny Ward because he's got a muscle injury. So yes, we'll go Schmeichel. Sorry, I had to get that little jibe in.
You did, didn't you? You did. And I feel sorry for you, Pokovic. I mean, God's sake, I mean, he must be on a good deal. He must love Leicester to be staying there, I'll tell you.
He signed as a third choice keeper and he's on a decent wage. He's living life.
He is, isn't he? He's one day it's when he's called up and he actually has to come on, and we realise that he's like that goalkeeper that ate all the pies, because he never thought he was going to get on.
Do you remember a few years ago though when he played against Arsenal and then Tottenham, and he had 2 brilliant games like back to back?
I can't remember, but I do know. In fact, he was never a bad keeper. And it was a weird choice when he came to us, because like you say, he was literally our third choice, and it was from Hull, wasn't he? Didn't we get him from Hull?
Yeah, when they got I think it was when they got relegated. Yeah. But if I remember correctly, there were some other clubs that were quite interested in him, where he probably would have gone in and been their number one.
Yeah.
I wonder what we were offering that they weren't.
Well, who knows? Maybe we shouldn't ask, Hiya, Keith, and good. Glad to hear it, Static. Right, so we'll start at left back. Again, we're kind of limited for choice here, aren't we?
Yeah, I'd go James Justin, just get some more. Actually, no, Luke Thomas. We've got to keep that free. That Luke Thomas, Dewsbury Hall, and Barnes free going down that left-hand side, because they're building a really nice partnership.
I'm glad you didn't go for James Justin, because as you see, he's not on my list.
Oh, if he's not, then I'm 100% going for James Justin.
Yeah, thank you. Just to be awkward. And I presume you might be going for James Justin on the right.
I'd go Ricardo Pereira on the right.
Oops, hang on. I've lost it. Where have we gone? Let's put Schmeichel. Let's put Luke Thomas. You're going for Pereira on the right.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, again, he's signed a new contract, and that sends a nice message out, doesn't it? That he's committed to that.
It does. Along with, it's not just him though, which is a lovely thing to see. It's Fofana, it's James Justin. They're not short-term deals either. They're till 2027, 28. It shows that there's something going on at the club, and they believe in what's being done in the summer. Because like everyone says that, no one knows sort of what's going on in the summer. The players will know sort of what players, what sort of players we're talking to at the moment, and who we're after, and who the targets are. And the fact that they're signing contracts whilst knowing that shows to me that we're going to have a decent summer and a big summer.
I mean, if Tielemans goes, I get it. And I think, I think he was waiting till the summer to see which clubs are actually going to be in the Champions League and which ones aren't before he makes his decision. But, even he's going to be looking at that and going, Fofana's committed and Ricky has and James just... And maybe it's making him think as well.
Do you see his comments today to a Belgian media that he says that he hasn't rejected the Leicester contract yet. He's considering his options, and he's like, and if I'm at Leicester next season, so be it. I'll happily be there and stuff. So
I know the only way that is that if it might just stay a season but not actually sign a contract, which means we'll get nothing for him.
That's very true. But as a hypothetical, if we did that and then got Champions League next year, and that's a big if, I would say that if that risk becomes worth it. But it's if we then do it next year and have another season like this one, get nowhere near Champions League and hanging on by a thread to try and get Europa League, that's where it becomes. But we're not a club like a Liverpool or a Chelsea or a Man City that can afford to lose what's an £80 million player really for nothing.
Exactly. Although we did lose 30 on Slimani, but let's not remind ourselves about that. But we will see. It like you say, it just gives you a bit of hope, doesn't it? And we'll think just keep everything crossed. Now the back two after we were speaking earlier is going to be interesting. Which two are you going to go for?
I'd go Amati and Fofana. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Siunchu sort of get 20 minutes towards the end and start to work his way back in. But it's an interesting one. But also got Vestergaard to consider. But he did well. But
yes, he did.
Fifth choice centre back, and
he was never brought in as to be the first choice, was he? And I think that's the thing. And he will get confidence because he's not come in fairness, and I've been one of his biggest critics, but he's not come in and to a settled back line. From the moment he came in, he's probably not known who he's been playing with 1 week to the next, but as you can see, the BBC there have done their favourite trick to us again, and there's no Fofana in there. Guys, he is fit, BBC. If you are watching, he is fit. But we'll know. We'll leave the gap there. We'll keep it open for him. And even though we can't put anybody in there, so we know that gap there is Fofana. Now, normally, I'm guessing you'd go for Ndidi in this central midfield role, but of course he's not available, and you're not, for the sound of it, a huge Mendy fan. So, is it we're going to see Chowdhury there?
I would go with Tielemans and then Dewsbury Hall with Maddison in front of them.
Right. So you go in. Tielemans. You got to be good. It's got to be Dewsbury Hall, hasn't it? Yeah. I mean, they make such a and I guess you're going to be putting Barnes there. They make such a great threesome that it's like watching them link up is unbelievable for me. Anyway, I think it's a great threesome there. So you're going to go that, So Maddison sort of central there, and Tielemans and Dewsbury Hall either side.
Yeah.
What about your front here? I'm guessing this one's going to be Barnes on the left.
Yeah.
On the right now, again, Albrighton possibly is going to be out. So,
are you start Lookman over him? I think Lookman's a better player.
Yeah, are you sure? I mean, we do have Perez, of course, and he's going to be fit because he's not been played for a long time. I never have you back on if you do pick Perez, but it is a free country.
But what has happened to Perez? He seemed to be playing almost every other week, or at least coming off the bench, and then has just disappeared off the face of the earth.
It's almost like to be honest with you, it's almost like Rodgers went on the computer, opened up YouTube, and watched all the Leicester channels, and thought, "Yeah, they're right. Actually, everybody's right about him," because he suddenly did totally drop off the face of the earth, didn't he?
It's so strange. And things, I'm one of the minority. I don't think Perez is anywhere near as bad as he's made out to be. I don't think he's a great player, but I do think the fact that we paid 30 million for him probably makes sort of fans think he's a lot worse than he is. And he's also been playing out on the right wing when he's not a right winger.
Yeah.
Like, when people rate Albrighton because he works hard, I think Perez works just as hard as Albrighton. But the difference is Mark Albrighton's a free transfer from Aston Villa. Iosi Perez was a 30 million transfer from Newcastle, which at the time was a club record fee.
Yes, it was. And do you think Perez brings as much as Albrighton, though, in like crosses and goal contributions?
Well, his goal contributions are more than Albrighton. So, like, but defensively, his numbers are right up there in terms of like off the ball, in terms of the stats and stuff like that. They're the hardest workers off the ball. So, yeah, I think. But I see people calling him lazy, and it's like that's just a false narrative that just because you don't like a player, and it's like,
yeah, if
you don't like a player, fair enough, but don't call them like actually don't like them on stuff that they're not good at, not just like false narratives of like when you look at
you know what Leicester fans are like. You know, they can't, if they don't like the argument or if they don't agree with what's being said, they just shoot the messenger. They don't come back and say, well, it's because of this, or put another. I had that the other day, so when I was having to go at Brendan for his substitutions against Arsenal. It was only my opinion, and when you're in a group, you know, you post to create discussion. You don't post to say, "Oh, Leicester are wonderful every single game, whatever happens." But people are coming on and having a go at me, and I'm like, "Well, put another argument up then." But you know, maybe it's asking a bit too much. I don't know. And I suppose at the end of the day, there's only one player we can go for up front there, isn't there?
Yes. No Daka, is there? No Vardy.
No.
So Iheanacho it is.
But you know that team, I think with who's available at the moment, that is I know we've got a gap there, but we know that's Fofana. That is a strong squad. You know, I mean, for me, Amati is the most improved player, you know, of the season. Dewsbury Hall has just come of age this season, and that, like I say, that threesome Thomas, Dewsbury Hall, Barnes is amazing down that left hand side. Lookman, do you still think we should be buying Lookman in the summer?
£12 million, you don't get a better player for that. And even if he's not the starting right winger, which I actually don't think he is because he's naturally a left winger.
Yes.
If we want to be competing with the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham and stuff, it's not just about building that starting 11. It's about building the bench and the squad to go with it.
Yes. And when you think, I mean, there's a picture earlier in the week, and it had Fofana, Evans, and Castagna all training. You kind of forget Castagna. I mean, we forget we've got this guy, and like you say, we have. When everybody is fully fit, it is going to be a very good squad, and I think there'll be a few departures in the summer, either through choice or not. But it'll be interesting to see where we go. And we've got to accept that, you know, the owners in the business they're in, they haven't got the money that some of the other clubs have. But yeah, I'm looking forward to next season when everybody's fit again. Terry says, I'm disappointed. Thought you would have had a big tall man at number 9. Now who would fit that bill? Tell us, Terry. Tell us. But anyway, we're going on now to what we always finish the show on, and that is obviously score predictions. And these are the predictions from the X-Foxes and me table we do, which at the moment I'm sitting, but I'm very much the Norwich of this lot. And Jerry Taggart is certainly the Man City Liverpool. But nobody's gone for a Leicester loss. Ian Marshall's gone for a 1-1 draw. I've gone 2-1. Steve Walsh, bless his heart, always goes for a big one. He's gone 3-0. Tags agrees with me 2-1. Even Steve Linux has gone 2-0, and that's saying something. And Ian Wilson 3-1. What's your prediction, Ant?
Well, on my channel, I actually went 4-1 because I reckon we're going to come back. They're going to come back from the game in France and be absolutely buzzing with confidence. I think if we start quickly, there's no reason we can't just absolutely wipe the floor with Brentford. But at the same time, it's Leicester, so we could well end up making them look like Barcelona with Iniesta, Xavi, Busquets, Messi, and that lot. So
this is totally
it's very much more dependent on which Leicester turns up from which Brentford.
Yes, I mean, I couldn't believe that I actually saw some Leicester fans complaining about the number of games that we're playing, and I'm like, but you want to be successful. It comes with success. You know, I can remember when the year we won the Premier League, a few people were complaining about the fact that all the matches were being changed because of TV. And it's like, well, it goes with the territory, you know, and I don't kind of get it. But like you say, they literally, I think they'll be on a high on that, you know, because yes, we lost on the night, but we'd done it over the 2 legs. And but this is Leicester. And we all know what happens. You know, we like you said, we could make them look like Barcelona, but you're sticking with your 4-1.
Yeah.
Brilliant. But I really hope you're right. The funny thing is that we always go for that 1, don't we? Because we know we're going to concede.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'd probably be happier with a 1-0 clean sheet just because we've lacked clean sheets and it would probably be huge defensive confidence. But we've seen our defense this season.
Yes, yeah, no, exactly. Just don't give them free kicks or don't let it go out for a corner. Kick it out for a throw-in instead of something. You know, then we'll be fine.
Definitely be up for that.
Yeah, definitely fine. And thank you so much for coming on. I know it was a rush for you, but really appreciate that. I've got your links in the description below on YouTube, but give people a shout out where they can find you.
Yeah, so cheers again, Chris, for having me on. But Ant's Leicester fan channel, just talking rubbish about Leicester, really, quite heavily opinionated, which can make for some good debates.
No, it can. And say, shout out the actual channels.
So Ant's Leicester fan channel and then Beyond the 90 as well.
On the 90, yeah, good channels. Get subscribing if you haven't already. Neil's away. Is he away on holiday?
I'm not sure. He's on his travels, is all I know.
It can't surely be a holiday, not during the season. But we'll forgive him if he is. And thanks so much, mate. Fingers crossed for this week, and fingers crossed for the Europa Conference. Wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be good to win it in the inaugural year?
Yeah, I think that would be. It's that competition. No one wants to be in it, but now we're in it. Let's go and win it.
Yes. You know, I mean, Arsenal and Spurs, they really, I don't get the fans. You know, Arsenal, no, we don't want to be in it because we should be in the Champions League. Well, guess what this season, Arsenal, you've been in neither.
We've been in the Champions League more recent than them. They just think they need to humble themselves slightly. Then Tottenham fans, how can they pick and choose what trophies they go and win? Yes. It's like a homeless man turning his nose up at someone living in a flat.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, well, like I say, let's hope we never get like that.
No.
Anthony, thanks very much, mate. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the game, and stay safe, bud.
Yeah. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers to Ant there for joining us. Great. Make sure Ant's TV channel, you get over Leicester TV channel, you get over there and Beyond the 90 as well. 2 great Leicester City channels. And Ant's channel, straight after the match, if he's at the match, he does a blog, and it's it's very funny. Thank you so much. for everybody that was watching. Really do appreciate it. I say on YouTube, Leicester Till I Die TV. Just please, just do this one thing for me if you would. Yeah, please hit that subscribe button. And if you've been listening on podcast, your favorite podcast platform, apparently we're all over it. I mean, we've had nearly 600 listens to the podcast in the last 4 days alone. Honestly, unbelievable. But thank you so much for doing both of that. Should be back tomorrow with the watch along. No, we shouldn't, because if we're watching it along, it wouldn't be the Leicester game, would it? We'll be back on Sunday. I've had one of those days today. Forgive me. I'm still as drunk from last night. We're back hopefully for the watch along on Sunday, and then the post-match show. And Josh is back for that on Sunday as well, straight after the game. So about 1:30 on Sunday. We'll see you then. Thanks very much for watching and listening. Take care. Remember, don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Good night.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye and see you next time.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram.